Welcome back to the OUA Basketball Show, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our first episode of 2024. Exciting stuff here. My name's Griffin Porter. Hope you all had a great winter break. Hope you are all having a happy new year so far. But let me tell you, more exciting than a new year for me is the fact that we are now in the second half of this OUA season, and that means that the playoffs are squarely visible out the windshield right now, folks. We are coming towards them, and teams are going to be jockeying for position these last few weeks. Teams are going to be fighting for those last playoff spots. Playoffs are now officially in view, and that means the basketball is just going to get better and better and better from here. And we already have some games to talk about. So once again, hope you all had a happy break, but there's no time to talk about it. We got to talk about OUA basketball. Let's get right into it. On the men's side in particular, do you know what to make of the Carleton Ravens? Because not many people do. The team drops out of the top 10 for the first time in decades last weekend, but then they also happened to beat a very, very good Queens Gales team in Ottawa, has to be said. So a tough road trip for Queens that weekend, but I think that's a good sign for the Carleton Ravens, a rebuilding year in the capital for sure, but that's a young team, and that's a sign that they may be starting to put it together. I don't think that will be with a 500 Carleton Ravens team for long. But elsewhere in men's basketball, Laurier continues to stand out as a true contender with wins over Western and Waterloo, and the Brock Badgers put up a narrow 1-point win over the TMU Bold to further complicate the OUA Central. We got 5 teams all within 2 games of each other in that division as we head into the final stretch, so that will be a lot of fun. And over on the women's side, lots of great games to talk about as well. Everyone's eyes on the city of Ottawa as the Queens Gales rode into town to take on the toughest 1-2 punch in the OUA schedule, and they split it. They beat the Gee-Gees by 9 on the first night of the back-to-back before they lose by 5 to Carleton. So you got to think that Queens, as good as any team in the province, maybe not happy with a split, but hopefully satisfied as we see that all 3 of those teams neck and neck and neck. Carleton has a strong start to 2024 as they also beat Ontario Tech 105-44, so a couple of good wins in different ways for the Carleton Ravens. Meanwhile, the Brock Badgers made a big statement as they hand the TMU Bold their first loss of the season, and they did it handily, winning by 22 points. Friends of the show, Madeline Weinert and Tito Akanusi, they combined for 37 points in that win. We won't say it's the OUA Basketball Show bump, but you are welcome, Brock fans. Mentioned earlier in the show that Gee-Gees lost a close one when Queens came to town, but it's still been a fantastic season over in Ottawa. And our first guest of the show to tell us all about it is one of the new Gee-Gees this year, Ariane Saumure, along with Griffin in a different color shirt. Our first guest of 2024, very exciting stuff. Ariane Saumure, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Hi, Griffin. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. You're a absolute reason why the Ottawa Gee-Gees are playing so well this year. OUA championship contenders, national championship contenders, and your presence on that team is a big reason why. And I think that's where it makes the most sense to start. Obviously, OUA fans have known you from your days since Western, but you've come along to join an already fantastic Ottawa team, and you fit in like a glove. How has that transition been for you so far?
Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to be in Ottawa. Obviously, it definitely can be challenging at times. You know, you did 4 years with a wonderful team. I was with Western Mustangs for 4 years, being coached by Nate, and just felt like it was time for something new to maybe change cities and to join another great team. Obviously, but it was a bit challenging at times, obviously, because you did spend 4 years with the team and under a system that you already knew very well to a completely new team where, you know, you don't know anybody, you don't know the girls, you don't know the system. So it's definitely a learning curve, but the transition was actually pretty smooth. And although it was challenging at times, I really liked it and I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's great to hear. Obviously, it's working out well so far. Has there been anything that like surprised you about the move to a new school? Either we'll say in a good way. What's been a good surprise?
You know, it's actually very interesting when you have come from a different school, like you're able to compare both programs, both schools, both campuses. You can compare them, and it's just to contrast them, there's pros and cons to both, but I'm really enjoying it. It's refreshing, and meeting new people who are like minded, and I have nothing but good things to say about my move to Ottawa. Obviously, there's a lot of fun things to do and a lot of great people here, so yeah, I couldn't be happier.
That's great. One thing that I've noticed, and I think a lot of fans have noticed, is just that you, when you were at Western, like last year, you were scoring 19 points a game. You were really taking that lead role in the offense. And then this year, you're playing with so many talented players, Natsuki Chief among them, that you've sort of taken a different role in the offense as more of like a secondary option. What's that transition been like for you?
Yeah, of course. So obviously at Western, I was definitely in a different role where I did have to put a little bit more points on the board. So that was a little bit challenging, I suppose, like trying to find my role on this new team where there are already established players and other girls who know how to score the basketball really well. So trying to kind of find kind of where I fit in was, I think, what I was trying to do first semester, kind of, just see what it is that I can bring. But it's honestly so awesome being able to play with a team where you're maybe not being relied to or being relied on to score 19 points per game. It's definitely less pressure on you, and the load is like distributed among like five people. And when you can play basketball with four other girls on the court who are always looking to score and who can put points up there, it's so fun. And it feels a little bit more like a team game in a sense where you don't have to be as selfish, and you just kind of let the game come to you, and it's fun to be able to have everybody contribute in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. And just speaking of your role, you are my absolute favorite type of player to watch, which is a defensive stopper. You are the reigning OUA Defensive Player of the Year, of course, as everyone knows. I love asking questions to defenders. How much like pride do you take in being able to take on the best player on the other team and shut them down?
Yeah, so much pride. Honestly, I've said this so
Yeah.
much before, but the defensive part of the game is something that you can bring every time, any day, whether like your offense is going good or not. Like defense is something that you can bring. It's effort, and honestly, it's just playing with grit and heart. And I think that if you can play good defense, you get yourself going that way. And if you can get yourself going on the defensive, like the defensive part of the game, it sometimes generates offense for you. So I definitely take a lot of pride in doing that. And guarding the other team's best ball handler is so fun. It's challenging, and it's just a big part of why I love the game, playing basketball. It's the competitive nature, and I don't know, just kind of being in someone's shorts and being a little pest. I kind of I take a lot of pride in that too. So yeah, I love defense. I love the defensive part of the game for sure.
Yeah, pest is a great way to describe in the best possible way. I think pest is a great way to describe you out there. Like I mentioned, I got to watch you in person when you guys played York, and just always everywhere on the court. I was exhausted just watching. And speaking of the competitive aspect, you've been added to a new rivalry this year, the Ottawa crosstown rivalry. As the regular viewers of the show may know, I'm a proud Ravens alumni. So I got to ask, you guys played a fantastic game. You really sort of took it to Carleton as when they were at the time the number one team in the country and the reigning national champions. Do you get up a little differently for a game against elite competition like that? We won't say Carleton in particular because we don't want to cause any commotion, but just when you guys are playing another top team, does that get the heart pumping a little more?
Honestly, yeah, I think you have to approach any game that way, but definitely when you do have like a rivalry like Ottawa by town battle, it definitely like hypes you up a little bit more. And also the game like was the last one of the break, so also just knowing that you were the last game, and a lot of people were probably tuning in and to watch this exciting rivalry, it definitely makes you want to lock in a little bit more. But yeah, no, Carlton, obviously they're the reigning champs from last year. Both teams won nationals, so definitely exciting to be able to play them and actually compete and come out with a dub. So it was super exciting, and I don't think that we could have asked for a better game. Like in as a team, we really came together as a unit, and don't think we could have asked for more than that.
Very polite. No trash talk here. All right, that's very sporting of you. Well, hopefully, I know all fans are hoping that we'll get to see you guys play obviously there's the Capital Hoops Classic coming up, but even maybe a couple of times after that, I think people have their fingers crossed because it's always a great game. Just before I let you go here, you've already been so generous with your time. Second half of the season, we are just about to get it underway. Maybe we've got it underway, depending on when people are watching this. What's the hope? What's the goal? What's the mindset for the Ottawa Gee-Gees?
Honestly, I think it's just one game at a time and taking care of our body. Anyone who's been playing in OUA or in U Sports Basketball League knows that this is like the last stretch of the season, and I don't think that you're going to feel 100% after this point. So I think it's just to take it one day at a time, to take care of your body, to hydrate, to feed yourself with good food, and just try not to get injured, stay healthy in that sense. So I think my team, we're taking it day by day, dub by dub. Um, and obviously, we do want to get to nationals and try to get that Natty's championship. Who doesn't? But that's our ultimate goal. And we still have a lot of work to do. We have 6 more weeks, but we're very determined to get the best outcome that we can.
That's good advice for everyone watching. If you want to be an elite basketball player, hydrate, eat good food, fuel yourself well. That's what I'm going to take away from this interview. Ariane Saumure, thank you so much for your time, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you so much for having me, Griffin.
And that's going to do it for our episode today. Thanks again to Ariane for helping us kick off 2024. It was great to have her on the show, even if she is an Ottawa Gee-Gee. Regular viewers will know I'm a proud Carleton alumni, but hey, we got to have a Gee-Gee on the show every once in a while. And just before we go, we got to do our games of the week. On the men's side, I'm very interested in Western as they take on U of T and TMU this weekend. Mustangs are chasing Laurier for the first place in that division. And this would be a statement weekend for them if they can pick up a couple of wins against two good Toronto teams. Then on the women's side, I'm going to go ahead and highlight the 7-4 Brock Badgers as they take on the 8-4 Guelph Griffins. So two good teams going head to head there. Should be a good game. Thanks again for watching, folks. My name's Griffin Porter, and we'll see you next week on the OUA Basketball Show.